Good evening and welcome to our Facebook Live this evening. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in Brackley in the county of Northamptonshire here in the UK. So it is, let me see, it's Thursday evening. I had to think hard about that, and it's the 4th of November. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are joining me live, don't hesitate to leave any comments or messages, and if you have any questions I will get back to you. If you're joining live, do say hi and use the hashtag live. It's always nice to know who's watching with us. If you're watching on replay or on YouTube, then if you have any questions, as I said before, just add a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So today I'm just showing you, to start with, the cards that we're making at Coffee and Card tomorrow. I've just got those designed and on the table, and I will post this for those that join me on Coffee and Card. And I thought, as it's Remembrance Sunday next Sunday, I thought we would use that really stunning poppy set to create a card and a matching bookmark. So this will actually be mounted onto a white note card and have an envelope with it. So we're just stamping some of the poppies across the bottom with a sentiment. And then this has the little poppy stamp. So this has been stamped onto a 2-inch strip. Well, it's just under 2 inches, and added a sentiment on the top. Both of these sentiments come from a new sentiment stamp set. So that's what we'll be doing at Coffee and Card. Hi Tracy. So what I wanted to show you this evening from the live video was using the Eden's Garden main floral image in a different way. I'm just looking to see what I've done with the stamp set. I've obviously put it somewhere really safe, and so safe that I can't find it. Here it is. There we go. So this was the stamp set that we used yesterday, and I can't find the sample because we used it with some of the papers and some of the dies. But this evening I'm just going to be using this one and one of the sentiments. And I saw this design on YouTube, actually by two different demonstrators. One was Debbie Reed, R-E-E-D, and the other was Anna Helman, H-E-L-M-A-N. They're both Stampin' Up demonstrators, and they've been using this in a different way on the Stamparatus. So I thought I would take their idea and try it out. So first of all, I'm going to show you the card that I had a go with this afternoon, and then we'll do another one live together. So let's move that one out of the way, and I'll show you the finished card. So it's a really subtle image. I think it's really really appealing, and it's given me idea to go now and have a look at what other stamps I could do this technique with. So basically what we do is we pop the stamp itself onto the Stamparatus, and then we use our sponge daubers, but you could use Stampin' Up Stampin' Right markers to add colour to elements of the stamp, and then stamp it, and then add more colour and carry on until you've finished the design. So this one has got quite autumn colours. Hi Jeanette. So this has got a little bit of Blackberry Bliss, a little bit of Pumpkin Pie, a bit of Granny Apple Green, but you could really change this to suit. So I'm looking for some colour inspiration to do the one that we're going to do this evening. And then I've just stamped the sentiment just attaching itself here, but we could easily stamp that onto a die cut and add it onto the top. So I really like the effect. It does take a little bit of time, but with the Stamparatus, or if you had another stamp positioning tool, you'd be able to create the same sort of thing. So let me just lift that up to the screen a bit better so you can see it. So this is one of our distinctive stamps in that the shading is all inbuilt into the stamp itself. So let's get everything together. So I have my Stamparatus here. I don't need my blocks, just move those out of the way. And I have a piece of basic white card here. Now I'm actually using a larger piece than I need because I want to cut it down. I want to have plenty of space around it to do my stamping, and then I can decide which element, how I'm going to cut that. And obviously when you do this, you can have it anyway, really. I think it works really well, and it fits well on a note card size. So I've cleaned this stamp off, and what I'm going to do is just change the position of it, really, so we've got something different. Although, having said that, it does sort of favour, does it favour that way? Let's try it a different way. Let's try it like that. I think that will work. To be honest, I think it will work in any position because you're looking sort of down on the image itself. So have cleaned that. Just going to pick that up with the Stamparatus plate, like so. And I've got a piece of basic white here. So I've got a couple of sponge daubers. And I've got another one here. I have no idea what colours those are. So let's think about some colours that we can add in. So we could make this almost a Christmas version by using some red for the berries. So maybe we could do that, or you could obviously change it up altogether. Let's do, oh, that's Melon Rainbow. I've got some little bit of Poppy Parade. A little bit of, let's see, no, I'm going to change that one out. So I'm going to have some soft succulent and a little bit of evening evergreen. So I'm going to go with that. And I might add another red into that. Maybe a little bit of cherry cobbler. So I've got some greens and some reds to work with. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is take a dauber, ink up a little section, put it across and ink it onto the paper, and then keep adding that until we've got the layers that we want. So let's start with Poppy Parade, and I've got a sponge dauber here, but I have no idea if it's got ink on it. Oh, it has. Must have been one I used earlier. Let's grab some other daubers. So I hope everybody is well and you've had a good day. Okay, so let's try, I'm just going to try this on my scrap here. Okay, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is ink up with the Poppy Parade onto my dauber. So this won't work with blending brushes because you need more pressure on the stamp itself. And what I'm doing is applying the ink to the section where I can see the berries. Hi Carol! Just to show you, this is what we're creating this evening, a variation on this. But I've chosen to do sort of Christmas colours. So I'm just going to add some red in the centre where those berries are. and then I'm going to push that down like so. So you can see, if I just lift that up, you can see that detail, hopefully, that's been applied. And then I'm just going to add some more, like so, and build this up. So I've got more berries over here on the right hand side, and we've got some little berries up at the top as well. So you don't need to wipe the stamp in between, because you are transferring most of the ink onto the paper. However, if you wanted to, you could wipe it down each time. And then I'm just going to add a little bit over here. Like so. So not my original idea in any way, shape or form. Let's just add a little bit more to those. Like so. Okay, now I'm going to introduce. No, we're not, Carol, I'm afraid. So this is just using, because I've only got one of this, and if we did this tomorrow, we'd be here for hours. I'll show you what we're doing tomorrow, and that is the poppies. So we're doing a card and a bookmark to go with it, with the poppies, just to celebrate Remembrance Sunday. Okay, so let's add a little bit of green. So I'm going to leave the red on there because I'm not too worried about that. And I'm hoping to find a dauber that's got some green on. There we go, this one has. So I've got a little bit of soft succulent. So again, inking this up. Just going to try it out. Yeah, that's perfect. And so bear in mind it's sort of in reverse, if that makes any sense. So I'm inking up this bit top left hand side, which will be this piece here in the top right hand side. Okay, and this is soft succulent. There we go. Like so, you can see that beginning to build. So you do need a fair bit on there. This is quite a light ink, so I'm not going mad with my inking up. Oops, sorry, I'm rubbing the table a little bit. Okay, so I've got this element in here. Now I'm going to build up this element here at the bottom. So I'm going to start with the same colour, but then I'm going to add some darker detail. And I know the ink pad is probably off the edge. So what do you think? Are you liking this as a technique? So I need to go and have a look at what other stamps this would work with. It does work particularly well with the distinctive stamps because you've got so much detail in the stamp itself. And if you didn't have sponge daubers, you could use your marker pens onto here, and if you wanted to highlight a particular area, you could use daubers for the rest and then use Stampin' Write markers. You can't use blends pens because the alcohol will just dry before the stamp has got to the rest of the card. So I'm just going to build in a little bit in here. As I say, I'm not cleaning off the stamp in between. If you're worried about contamination of your daubers, you can see mine are very well used, which is why you can't tell what colour they are. Then you could wipe the stamp in between, and then you'd know that you're not contaminating or moving any of this ink around. Okay, let's have a look. So let's see what's in this left section here. So more leaves. So what I'm going to do is the soft succulent, so it's on this side here, isn't it? And then I'm going to add some evening evergreen. There we go. I might have known you would have done, Tracy. I haven't got my my normal set. I have labelled, you know, like red, green, etc. And I've obviously put those somewhere safe. I'm having a safe week this week. Okay, so this is Evening Evergreen, and I just want to add a little bit more detail in with this. So I'm just going to ink this up. So, and maybe have a little bit around this edge and up here. And my suggestion is just do a little bit, see how it looks, and then build on it. There we go, so it's got a little bit more definition now. And here I could make this one a little bit greener as well, because it's got quite a red edge, so I'm actually going to make that quite dark. So it's quite therapeutic, because you don't have to worry about stamping, because it's on the Stamparatus. You don't have that worry of the you know, where you're going to stamp it. It takes all of that pressure away from you. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more detail. Hi Kerry, I hope you are well. Hope you've had, oh well, it's morning for you, isn't it? Of course. I was going to say, we've had a good day, but we've had a good day, and you're on Friday already. Okay, so you can see I'm just building this picture up. Now you could add a different element if you wanted to. Let me just lift it up so you can see it in a bit more detail, because obviously it's a little bit away from the screen. Okay, so just using the sponge daubers on that area. Early Friday. Okay, now I've got a little bit here where there's not much definition, so I'm going to add a little bit more in there. And on that leaf. And I am quite close to the hinge here as well, so just adding a little bit more pressure. And then finally got this little bit here where these come down. It's a little bit light in there, so let's add a bit more of that. So I don't know if you've seen this technique before, Kerry, whether it's on this stamp or something else. So I got this idea from Debbie Reed and Anna Helman. It was their videos that I saw on YouTube when I was looking for something else, and I just thought how stunning it was with that stamp. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to make this a bit darker. Sorry, I said I'm happy with that. I just want to make this a little bit darker again, this point here. Oh, wrong colour. There we go. That's better. there you are. So you could also make this quite, although there'd be no point doing it monotone, but you could use different shades of brown, for example. That would be really effective. Yeah, different combinations for sure. Okay, so okay, excellent. So you could also, as I say, use Stampin' Up markers. That's not the right colour at all. Let's not add that pretty peacock, that's an old one. So this is soft succulent. So if you had an element that you wanted just to define a little bit more, you could add, with the Stampin' Up marker, small elements of that and stamp it. Okay, so that makes that little bit more defined. And if I wanted to add some definition, for example, on the edges of the leaves, like so, I could do that also with the marker pen. So entirely up to you how much of that you do. So you can see it's just added those the tips in there. Hopefully I hope you can see that. That may be better. So I quite like that with that. So I'm going to actually do that all the way around. So this is still soft succulent. I could use Evening Evergreen, but I'm just going to do the tips of all of these. Like so. You don't want to do too many because the ink will dry, and you can obviously huff on it with your breath to moisten it a little bit further. Okay, there we go, that's got some more definition. So if I lift this out of the way and lift this up to the camera, hopefully you can see that definition. Really, really pretty. Now you could use a blending brush on the outside of that as well if you wanted to, with soft succulent, to blend that whole thing in. I'm just going to stamp a sentiment on top. Let me find my chamois just to wipe this down. As I say, if you don't want to contaminate your daubers, if like Tracy you've got one dauber for every colour, then wipe the stamp down in between. Just make sure that you're drying it off with a lint-free cloth, or just letting it air dry. I can really see the definition of this in the lights. I know that you can't. Let's see if I can bring that. Yeah, if I just tilt that, there we go. Hopefully you can see the definition on that stamp. Not on the stamped image, on the stamp itself. Okay, so there's my image on my card. And on this one I just put Sending Hugs, which is from the same stamp set, and I've used one of the inks on there. So I could use Poppy, I might use Evening Evergreen. I didn't use Cherry Cobbler after all that. Never mind. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut this down to fit a note card. I do like to use a slightly bigger piece of card when I'm using Stampartus. It's not essential, but I do like to just give myself a little bit to play with. So in order for this to fit a note card, this needs to be, if I'm not having a border, 3.5 inches by 5. So I could stop and add a border to it. Let's see where that leaves us if I cut that at so this is 3.25 by 4 3/4. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this edge, like so, and then this will be 4 3/4, so we have, or 12 centimeters. the note cards and envelopes are measured in inches. That's why I tend to stick to inches for those measurements. Okay, right, let me find my note card. It just disappeared here. So this is, yes, I haven't cut that right. I've cut it to 3 1/4. 3 1/2, not 3 1/4. Sorry, everybody. So I'm just going to take 1/8 of an inch off each side. There we go. And I do quite like this white on white, but you could have a coloured border behind. And then I can find the stamp set again. We have sending hugs, hello there, dear friend, how are you? And then some sentiments that you could add or put inside. So I think I'm going to do hello there, and I might just do that on there, keep this as a single layer, maybe just so it's just off the edge of the flowers. Let's have a look and see. But you could easily stamp it onto a separate piece. Let's see if I've got one to hand. Then we can decide. So that would definitely work. It needs to be a larger one than that though. Yeah, that feels too big. And that won't fit. And that's the wrong shape. Okay, so stick with plan A, and I'm just going to stamp it straight on. And then if I make a mistake, I'll put the die cut on top. So I am just going to try this out with Evening Evergreen. Perfect. I want it fairly dark to stand out against the rest of the stamp, and I've just coated that rather. Okay, let's try again. That's better. There we go. So I'm going to have this just off to the right, like so. There we go. So it says hello there. And then I'm going to layer this onto our white note card. This time I'm going to use dimensionals for my panel. Thank you, whoever's sending hearts to me, or thumbs up. So I'm going to lift this up. Just keep this really plain and simple. Let's pop some dimensionals on there, which have disappeared. I swear I open a new pack of dimensionals every Facebook Live. Oh dear, never mind. Right. So I've got 6 on there, and then a little bit of support in the middle. As I say, you could put a layer behind that if you wanted to, but I quite like the fact that this is kept simple and clean. Whoops. So you would definitely term this a clean and simple card. Okay, so just positioning that. There we go. And then I'm going to add a little bit of bling And I think these holiday rhinestones would look perfect. So they have got green. Yes, it does, doesn't it, Kerry? I don't often do white on white. Let's move those out of the way. So I've got some green and I've got a few red. So I could do 2 and 1, for example. I know it's not exactly the right green, but I think the I think it will work. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, I want that a different height. Otherwise your eye tries to put those two together and it'll know that it's not the same. So let's pop that one there. There we go. There it is, our finished card. So you could do the same treatment for the inside, or you could just stamp a little bit of this. This is really pretty, so maybe I'll just stamp that on the inside, the one with the little dots, and just stamp that in soft succulent, I think. And there we go. So that is our finished card for today. So as I say, I can't take any credit for the design, and I know that we've used daubers on stamps and things before for highlighting or showing different areas, but I've not used it, as far as I can remember, I've not used it in that way with the Stampartus to change to add lots of different colours. So there we go, that's my little bit on the inside, and there is my card. So that would be a nice greeting as a Christmas style card, especially maybe for somebody who doesn't celebrate Christmas, but you could make it into a Christmas card. This was the one that I did earlier using autumn colours. So I've used Blackberry Bliss, Pumpkin Pie and Granny Apple Green on there. And the sentiment was stamped in Blackberry Bliss, and then I've used from the holiday rhinestones, I've used those lovely sort of bronzy gold ones. Okay, so there we go for today. Fairly straightforward. I kept it to half an hour. That's a bit of a miracle. So I hope you like the cards, with thanks, as I say, to Debbie and Anna, and I'm sure other people will have done the same. Let me just score this card to make it sit slightly flatter, like so. There we go. And tomorrow, as I say, at Coffee and Card, we will be featuring the poppies, doing a poppy card. So this is going to be sitting on a Whisper White card base, and then a coordinating little bookmark. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me this evening. As I say, if you've joined live and said hi, then thank you. Just going to put that on there to keep it in place. Thank you, Jeanette. Yeah, you have a good weekend too. For those that follow my class in a box, all of the videos and the dimensions file are available as of lunchtime today. So do hop over and have a look. And I look forward to crafting with you again soon. Now there is a special offer on for joining Stampin' Up during November, so I will be sending information about that, and I'm also working on the new designs for our class for November, so lots to be watching out for. You can subscribe to my mailing list by going to my website jeminicrafts.co.uk and looking for the subscribe button on the right hand side, and that will make sure you get information about our forthcoming classes and special offers. And I will post that information as well on Facebook tomorrow. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Do take care. Enjoy your evening. I'm off to make some dinner. I'll catch up with you really soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, look after yourselves, and bye for now.